Good evening. Tonight, some of the teens accused of vandalizing Service High School last spring appeared in court today.
The case stems from a prank back in April where students are accused of pouring glue into locks and then dumping concrete to block the school's driveways. School district officials say the prank cost at least $1,600 to fix. Police say they used surveillance video to figure out who was involved. Since then, the group has performed community service and paid back the cost of the vandalism. While they are scheduled to head back to court July 22nd, tonight it appears that the case is headed for a plea bargain.
It's my hope that all of these defendants will target that date so that in the meantime we may have a resolution in these cases.
Well, I want to see it concluded, so whatever that means through the judicial system. I don't have a preconceived notion. They've all done their part that we expected them to do, and they did it with a great attitude, and they've repaid us the restitution.
Only 10 of the 16 students accused of the prank appeared in court this morning. They were charged as adults with felony criminal mischief. Superintendent Como says today's appearance should send a strong message to any student thinking of pulling the senior prank to think again.
On this last traditional day of their term, Supreme Court justices did not rule on the Exxon Valdez case. At issue whether Exxon should pay $2.5 billion punitive damage dollars for the devastating 1989 Prince William Sound oil spill. Justices have now elected to extend their term and will issue a new set of decisions either Wednesday or Thursday. It's not certain, though, if Exxon will be one of those decisions. The court can do as it pleases, and that means the Exxon decision might not even come until next year. Justices are trying to decide if Exxon should pay the more than 32,000 spill victims punishment money on top of the $3.4 billion compensation and cleanup dollars Exxon has already paid. Well, based on February's oral arguments, it appears justices are struggling to interpret if Exxon officials after Joseph Hazelwood's crash. Exxon has been appealing the punitive damage award since 1994, when an Anchorage jury awarded the plaintiffs $5 billion punitive damage dollars. A federal appeals court later cut the judgment in half. That's when Exxon appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, this is the case's last legal decision. One of the justices has recused himself because he owns Exxon stock. Now, if the decision comes up a 4-4 split or the court does not end up ruling, the plaintiffs will get the money.
Today, Governor Sarah Palin reignited the ANWR debate. In a letter sent to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, she urges lawmakers to create legislation that would authorize development of oil and gas in ANWR. Citing the skyrocketing fuel costs and the nation's dependence on foreign oil, Governor Palin says the time is now to change the policies and politics that have prohibited drilling in ANWR.
Our Congress want to make sure that we're not just talking about the need to develop, to ramp up development offshore and in ANWR, but we're asking them now, what's your plan? If not domestic supplies being tapped into with offshore and with ANWR, then Congress, what is your plan?
And Governor Palin's letter was also sent to President Bush and a number of other high-ranking Washington officials. Well, with the rising cost of food and gas, most of us can't afford to pay full price for clothes and furniture, so thrift stores nationwide are growing more popular.
But the rising cost of gas could be affecting just how much of a bargain you're actually going to be getting. CBS 11's Grace Jang joins us live in the newsroom with more on how the pain at the pump could put a dent in the pocketbooks of the thriftiest shoppers among us. Grace?
Dave and Laura, high gas prices are forcing nonprofits all over town to change the way they do business. And it's those organizations that rely on donations, so the Salvation Army is no exception.
In these tough times, more and more people are heading to thrift shops to stretch their dollar. But before the sale,
all right, gentlemen, you ready to load?
Come the donations. These folks drive hundreds of miles every week to pick up your old stuff.
We filled up our tractor last week for $350, and that's our big truck, and that's as expensive as it gets.
But pickups are free, which means the Salvation Army absorbs the cost. Last year at this time, they spent about $3,000 on gas. That's when it was $2.74 a gallon. They now shell out $4,100. That's 73% more.
We're having to really screen the product in the first stages to say, is this really worth us picking up? I would say probably 35% of our calls that come in, we wind up not taking the product from the donor because it is...
Puts a different spin on the concept of charity.
we don't have that luxury in our business. I can't go pick up someone's couch and charge them for that because they're already giving.
Here, one man's trash may be another man's treasure, but if gas prices continue to rise, you may have to pay a little more to find that treasure. And it's not just the Salvation Army. The Boys and Girls Club is struggling to fill up as well. And with a fleet of about 25 minibuses and vans in Anchorage alone, that's more than $2,000 every week just for gas.
Grace, how are gas prices affecting the way that nonprofits serve rural parts of the state?
Well, Dave, in the past year, gas prices in urban areas doubled, but in rural areas, they've quadrupled, so more than 4 times. But nonprofits are definitely having to reallocate their funds. The trick is, though, to do that before essential programs get cut.
Well, we certainly feel their pain. That was CBS 11's Grace Jang reporting live from the newsroom.